Jerry Humphrey III, AL.com. Trey, matching up against your old team, has this been a game that's been circled on your calendar since the transfer?
I wouldn't say it's circled. I mean, it wasn't – the likelihood of this happening wasn't really, high. So, I mean, just the opportunity is a blessing, and I'm looking forward to it.
On the far right here in the fourth row.
For Vlad, Pat 40 from Sports Illustrated. Just asked your coach about the number of collisions you get into in a game, whether it's screening, rebounding, playing defense or offense. He said maybe you slip more screens and avoid contact earlier in a game to save it for later. I don't know if that's you think that's the case, but kind of talk about you embracing a high contact playing style.
I mean, we know they're one of the most physical teams, so we just have to adjust and play as physical as they are, but we're going to see how they defend, how they play, and if I need to slip some screens, I'm going to slip some screens, but if they're not going to switch, and we're just going to get a couple hits.
On the far left in the third row.
Trey, just about the Auburn thing again. Is there something, because you have a very personal connection with them, just some intel, some inside knowledge that you can share with the coaches as far as, their player tendencies, anything that goes beyond maybe just a scouting report or statistics?
I mean, 100%. I mean, I was there for 2 years, so I know how it operates. I know how everything runs. And when you're around people for so long, you catch on to what they do for sure. So, I mean, I definitely have tried to help as much as I can with that aspect, just to give us our best chance to win.
Third row here on the aisle, on the left.
Vlad, Chris Ballas with the Wolverine on 3. You told us before the season that you thought this team had championship DNA, that you could make a run. What made you so confident after being with these guys for just a few weeks?
It's just I don't know, connection with the guys, the work ethic, and all the small things that not many people can see. It you only can see it only when you work with them, and that's something that I think I was able to see.
Third row on the aisle.
Dan Walken from USA Today for Danny. Coach May was in here saying, when they were looking at you on film, he wanted to see you against, high major athletes on film, get some opinions before, deciding whether to bring you to Michigan. I was curious, just in your thought process, how much did that factor into wanting to test yourself, at the Big Ten level, or did, what you did against Auburn last year in the tournament sort of prove that for you? Just kind of what your motivating, factor was for trying to play at this level?
Yeah. Obviously, I'm sure that the game they analyzed most was probably the Auburn game, just the best look for them. And, yeah, we won the game, and I had a solid game. And, I mean, it started before that. It was just after the season, my family and I just knew I needed to not only prove myself against caliber guys such as the Auburns, the Texas A&M's, Big Ten competition night in and out. It was just challenging myself in practice every day. And I got to go against arguably one of the best centers in the country every day. And we have a bunch of other front court guys who challenge me. And I knew for what I needed and what I wanted with my basketball career, I needed to do that and make that step up. And in that Auburn game, I held my own pretty well, and we were able to come away with the win. But, yeah, it was more so to just challenge myself and get myself better, to prove myself, I would say.
Down front here on the right.
Robbie LaStella, Bracketeer.org. My question's for Vlad. Vlad, Dusty mentioned that the key to this team gelling quickly was relationships and you guys being like-minded. Would you say there was a kind of certain point this season where it all clicked and you guys realized, okay, yeah, we could actually win this thing?
It's been happening all season. It doesn't happen in one day. It's routine that day by day, and it's just getting better and better and better. And then one day you just look back and you might say it's clicking, but it's been a long process.
Back row on the far left.
Andrew Kahn, MLive.com. For any of you guys, I know you got to beat Auburn first, but the opportunity to play Michigan State, a rival, for a third time, get some revenge. Would you relish that opportunity, or doesn't matter to you?
I mean, as a team, we're not really worried about what's next for us. We got to take care of the task at hand, and then if we're able to take care of the task at hand, we'll deal with whatever's ahead.
Fourth row on the right side.
John Teitel from Hoops HD for Trey. As far as Auburn football, I was curious how close you came to playing Auburn football, and since your uncle played Auburn football, who will he be cheering for?
I mean, that's crazy that you knew that. Not many people really know that my uncle played at Auburn. But I mean, I was close. I was extremely close. It became a reality because my basketball recruitment started so late, and the connection I had with the Auburn football staff, I really had a chance of playing there. But I mean, basketball is what I wanted to do, so that's why I took that route. But I was extremely close. And to the second part of your question, doing my uncle's going to be here, and he will be cheering for Michigan.
Let's go on the far left, third row.
Yeah, Danny, you guys were, you found different ways to win in the first two games. What was it, 5 games in 9 days or something when you were playing Texas? Physical game, down by 10 in the second half. Do you guys enjoy the role, I guess, of being underdogs or having just sort of a lot of things not going your way and finding a way to win? Do you guys relish that kind of role?
I think it started, earlier in the season. Michigan, the prior year, did not live up to Michigan standards. And obviously there were injuries and things of that nature. And when we came together in the summer, we knew what we were capable of, and we knew where we wanted to get Michigan basketball back to. And so I guess from that perspective, we had that underdog mentality, just given that the expectations weren't that high because of the prior year. And as soon as we started playing and meshing, we knew that we weren't really underdogs at that point because we had such a high-level team and high-level locker room and character. And we had a pretty good regular season, and we were in the race for a Big Ten title, and then that kind of slipped out of our fingers. And then from a public standpoint, our team everyone thought that we lost track, and they wrote the ship off. And then we knew what we were capable of. We never lost faith in each other or trust in each other. And obviously, we were looked at as underdogs in the Big Ten tournament, given what happened in the previous games. And then even in this tournament, everyone thought UCSD was going to win, and then a lot of people thought Texas A&M was going to win. And we just try to block out that outside noise and realize that people that have those opinions don't really need to affect us or have an impact on us. But we for sure play with a chip on our shoulder.
Back row on the far left again.
Andrew Kahn, MLive. The transfer portal is open right now. I know maybe that's not something any of you guys are exploring, but some of your teammates might be just a player's perspective on the fact that those decisions have to be made while the season is still happening.
Yeah. Obviously there was news last week about playing our team entering the portal, and times are changing now, and it's college basketball is just going to such a unique and different place than what anyone's used to. And I don't want to speak to my thoughts on the portal being open during March Madness when teams are playing. And I think it's just, from a perspective of a coach that's still coaching, it's a unique position to be in because you have to prepare for the biggest game of the year while also not getting behind the 8 ball. And I don't really know what our coaches are doing in terms of the portal, and that's not for us to worry about. But we rock with the guys we have, and everyone is still bought in, and things unfolded in ways that weren't expected last week. And we really just didn't put much thought into it and tried to look past it. And we have the biggest game of the year tomorrow night, and I don't think anyone on our team and I don't think any one of our coaches are going to be worrying about the portal the next 24 hours.
Far left, second row.
Peter Radicus from AL.com. Danny, you talked a little bit about the Auburn game last year already, but what are kind of the first things that come to mind for you when you think about that game, and what do you remember about the matchup with Johni Broome?
Yeah, obviously it was an unbelievable game for Yale. I want to think it was one of the highlights of my basketball career. Up and down game, and we had a clear underdog mentality that game, and but we knew how good we were and we knew what we were capable of, and I think that's the same mentality this year, although albeit not as big of an underdog type of mentality. But yeah, and then from a matchup perspective, they started Johni at the 5 and Cardwell came off the bench, and so that was my matchup, and I thought I held my own, but I know that a year later I'm a far different player than I was last year, and now they obviously start Johni and Dylan, and arguably one of the best front courts in the country, and I like to think that our front court room is one of the best front courts in the country as well, and I know that we're all really excited for the opportunity, and it's not often that you get two elite front courts going at it this late in the season. And for myself, Vlad, Will, we're all very excited.
Back row on the aisle.
Hey guys, Gunter Schroeder with USA Today. Wanted to ask Danny and Trey, you guys matched up just last year in the NCAA Tournament in that first round game. Obviously, Danny might have a bit more of fond memories than Trey in that one, but wanted to ask about, was there anything in particular you guys noticed about, playing each other for the first time, and what do you think each guy will bring to the table now that you're both on the same side trying to beat Auburn?
I was actually thinking about this last night. I never tell Trey this, but we were watching film as a team before the tournament, and we were watching film from the SEC tournament, and there wasn't a huge, because Trey came off the bench, and there wasn't that big of an emphasis placed on Trey, but when we saw the highlights, we all were like looking around and being like, I don't want to use bad words, but it was like, oh crap, like this kid can go. And I was actually thinking about this last night because I forgot which game it was in the SEC tournament, but I think he had 19 points or something, and he looked like a stud. And so from the moment that Michigan was telling me that they were recruiting him in the portal, and I kind of had an idea as to where I was going, and I knew it was a kid I wanted to play with, and you guys have kind of gotten a glimpse of that these last few weeks as to just the high-level player he is. But so yeah, that's what I'll say about that.
Last question on the right, fourth row.
John Titel from Hoops HD for Vlad. Back in the day, you played at the U18 European Championship with great guys like Victor and against great players like Franz and Santa and Augustus and Musa. I was curious how that experience helps you for something like this, where you have to play great players the whole way, and or how it compares to the NCAA tournament.
I mean, it's pretty similar in the environment when you play a tournament, and when it's one game, if you win, you play next. If you don't win, you obviously go home. But we've been playing against great players all year long, so it's not something that we haven't seen before.
Very good. Thank you, fellas.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.